All right, family. God bless you. It's the time you've been waiting for. Senior Talk with Clara Hubbard, your resource and information show for people getting better with age. Well, it is June 15th. It is World Elder Abuse Day. I'm wearing purple, my nails, lipstick, all that, and a beautiful shirt. And let me tell you, I had to do my due just and talk to an expert today. This gentleman is a good friend of Senior Talk, has known me since the inception over 12 years. His name is Skip Gosselin. Let me tell you, he is representing the Office of the Attorney General. When I say senior advocate, he's that guy. He took off his roller skates today because, let me tell you, he had to bring this pivotal and important information to you, our viewing and listening audience. So everyone stay tuned. Senior Talk is live. We'll be right back after this message. All right, family. Thank you again. As mentioned, this is Senior Talk with Claire Hubbard. It is June 15th, National World Elder Abuse Day. And I had to dig in and just want to talk to you as a viewing and listening audience. I can't tell you if you have watched the media. Sometimes I have to pull it down. There are too many things that come up in media or in the news about elder abuse. And it doesn't stick with just one thing. There are many elements. It's financial, it's physical, it's verbal. There's so many ways. But this time, we're going to talk to our friends from the Office of the Attorney General, our friend Skip Gosselin. Let me tell you, I can't wait to hear what he has to share. He has been a friend of Senior Talk for many years. He's been advocating. He'll come to wherever you are, block club, men's meeting, church banquet, you name it, wherever they play cards, pool table, he will come. Let me say, he's just that guy. He's an all-around general, nice human, one of the nicest men you're going to ever meet, but he is advocating for seniors and through the Attorney General's office. So welcome to Senior Talk. How are you this day, Skip? Good to see you.
I am wonderful, Claire. Thank you so much for having me. To the Senior Talk audience out there, thank you so much for tuning in, taking the time out of your day to tune in. On behalf of my boss, the Attorney General, we hope that this information will be helpful and beneficial to you. So now, and Claire, do you want me to just go ahead and start my stuff?
Well, let me say this. Let's have a general conversation, then it's going to flow.
No problem. Okay.
First of all, I would like for you to introduce yourself and your title with
Absolutely.
the Attorney General's office.
Absolutely. Okay. So about me. First of all, I have been with the office for 19 years. So I've been there for a minute. Okay. And my title is Senior Community Outreach Liaison.
Okay.
So what that means is, because I do speak to everybody, all the groups, but my primary responsibility as far as this office goes is the senior community. So that's my primary responsibility. So, and I my mom is 92 years old.
Oh, she's young lady.
When I'm talking to the seniors, I'm talking to my mom. So sure. I can relate to everything, the problems, the situations that you all are facing. Hey, we got them, in my mom's house. So I'm pretty well aware about what's going on in that age group. Okay.
Yes,
and my approach is, I'm going to treat them like they're my mom, talk to them just as if they were my mom and dad. So, so that's the situation, in terms of me and my title. And again, this is I'm with the Office of the Illinois Attorney General's office.
Yes. So let me ask you this. What is the description of the Attorney General's office? We hear of governor and we hear of state reps and all those.
Absolutely.
So tell us what's the term Absolutely. Of what that offers.
Absolutely.
What the description is of your office.
And you know what? Before we do that, let me put in one little piece before we get to that.
Yes.
Let's talk about who the Illinois Attorney General is. I want everybody to understand.
Yes, sir.
That's Kwame Raoul.
That's right.
Okay? And Kwame Raoul was just sworn in this past January for his second term. Okay, so he hasn't been there that long. Before that, he was a senator in the state legislature for 14 years. So that's the experience that he brings to this office. Okay, now the position of the Attorney General. The Attorney General is the chief legal officer for the state of Illinois. And that office is charged with protecting the public interest of the state and all of its citizens. And we're supposed to do that by three methods. One, we're supposed to advocate on your behalf. Two, we will legislate. That means we will work with the General Assembly, the legislators down in Springfield, to draft laws that we feel are necessary. And three, we will litigate. That means we'll go to court to enforce those laws that come under our jurisdiction. Of course, everything does not come under our jurisdiction, but those that do, we do have the ability to litigate if the need is warranted.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Well, we are now. Oh, let's dig into something before we go further.
Okay.
19 years.
Yeah.
You've been under a couple of administrations.
Well, actually,
two.
It's two, right. The previous one was there for a while.
Right. So what would you say you can see as you've been in this position for a while? What are the changes? Is there any growth? Have we made any footprints in changing, or what can you say has been the experience since you've been there?
Yeah, I think almost all elected officials, especially if they're new to whatever position they got elected to, I think they always want to come in and make improvements, changes, want to put their stamp on the office. But let me say this. The previous Attorney General was a really good Attorney General, probably had one of the best reputations in the country as far as Attorney Generals go. Okay. And she decided that she wasn't going to run for re-election. Okay. And when Kwame came in, let me just say that was a collaborative effort. The previous Attorney General helped the current Attorney General in terms of navigating, attaining this office, and then once he got here. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's a good thing.
Help to make that transition as smooth as possible. Now, he has done some things. I mean, he's done a lot. He has beefed up our staff. Okay. So we weren't fully staffed before. So he's hired people. Our particular unit, our outreach unit, we are now pretty much fully staffed. We might have maybe one or two positions that need to be filled. And I know they're already looking for people on that. But so that makes a difference when you are fully staffed. You know,
good. Now you can come to the community with me. I can claim you and come to the community with me.
Right. Exactly. So, and I think probably the number one area I think that I'm most familiar with, and I think people will can personally sort of benefit from, and it's strange to say benefit from, but we have a crime victims assistance program. And so if anybody's been a victim of a violent crime, they may be eligible for compensation up to $45,000. So now under the previous administration, it was $25,000. When he came in, he wanted to expand that program. I mean, we all know the status of crime in this city, in the state, around the country. Okay. And he wanted to expand that program so that it could be available to help more people. So he raised the limit from 25,000 to 45,000.
Wow.
Now, and let me just say this. It's an application process. We just don't give you the money. Okay. Right. You have to apply. We're the investigative arm of that process. In other words, you file your application. There has to be a police report. we investigate to make sure that that claim is a valid claim.
Mhm.
Once we determine that, then um, the claimant will submit their supporting documents. So, I mean, obviously, people may be injured, people may be killed. Okay, it happens. We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of the July 4th incident in Highland Park.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so people are out there just trying to enjoy a holiday weekend, a parade in the community. And that situation jumps off there. Okay. People were injured, killed. You had the little boy that was paralyzed, you know. So obviously, people are going to be submitting bills for medical care. You know, they've been in the
Mhm.
hospital, that type of stuff. Okay. Now, the state is the payer of last resort. Okay.
Mhm.
So that means if they have any type of medical insurance, anything like that, they have to exhaust that first. And then we would come and pay those bills.
Okay.
But let's say the young kid, his family, maybe they need a ramp built onto his home because now they need to make it handicap accessible.
Sure.
Those are some of uh, those are some of the ways that the money can be used for things like that. It's a very traumatic event, you know, when people have been shot and that type of stuff. So they may need counseling, therapy. You know,
Mhm.
those funds can be used for that. And of course, um, God forbid, but when people are killed, now we do uh, limit the compensation for the funeral expenses to 10,000. But he even raised that because previously that previous limit was 7,500. So
Yeah.
he's tried to expand that program. Okay. And again, like I said, we're the investigative arm.
Mhm.
We don't make the final determination as to if any monies are paid out or how much. Uh, but once we determine it's a valid claim, we will make our recommendation to the court of claims and they will make the final determination. Court of claims is actually under the auspices of the Secretary of State, but it will be a judge or a panel of judges that will make the final determination as to if any monies are given out and how much. So that's how that program works. But he did expand that program because he saw the need for it and wanted it to be able to encompass more people if necessary.
That's a great thing to know. Well, let's do this. We're now going to dig into one of the favorite tabs that I found on the site. Let me say this. I'm showing the website. It's
Okay.
www.ag.state.il.us. I hit slash for seniors because there's a seniors tabs on there. And so
Okay.
we're going to talk about what you do, Skip, because you is busy. I tell you,
Nice.
you are really
I
busy.
am busy.
Right.
Nice.
So I hope it comes up clearly enough for people to see. But this is the page called Advocating for Older Citizens.
Right.
What are we looking at here?
Well, that's one of the areas. I mean, so let's understand something about the Attorney General's office. We have over 40 bureaus in our office.
Wow.
Okay. So
Okay.
we do a lot of stuff. And we have a senior bureau. So when they have an issue or something like that, they can contact our senior bureau. Now, the hotlines that you see listed on here, that's we're just giving you if somebody's been a victim of, like, say, abuse, neglect, exploitation, that type of stuff, we're giving you the 24-hour hotline for the Illinois Elder Abuse Hotline, okay,
Mhm.
which is also run by the state, but that's not in our office, okay.
Okay.
And then depending on how they're living in if they're in a long-term care facility, we're also giving them the number for the Department of Public Health because those facilities are under the auspices of the Department of Public Health. They don't come under our jurisdiction. So,
Okay.
but you know, one of the um, our biggest bureau is consumer fraud. Okay, and so
Yeah.
there's a lot. as your audience knows, there's a lot of fraud going on out there. Seniors are a particular target. Now, I want to be clear: everybody is a target for scam artists, okay? Because they don't care who they scam. They don't care that you're a senior. They don't care that you're on a fixed income. They don't care about any of that stuff. If they can scam you and get the money, that's all they're interested in. So seniors are for sure a particular target, okay? But we're busy when it comes to consumer fraud. We track the complaints that come into our office, and we average anywhere from 20 to 30,000 complaints just in consumer fraud. Now, of course, that's complaints coming in from all over the state because we're a state agency.
Sure.
So that's a lot. And let me just say this: if somebody thinks they have been a victim of consumer fraud, they can file a complaint with our office, okay? And we will do our best to try to see if we can help resolve that situation. What we do is mediate the situation. So the person will file a complaint with us. We'll take a look at it. We will reach out to the other side that they're having an issue with, and then we'll try to see, hey, what went wrong. Sometimes it may be a communication problem between the parties. They were sort of talking at opposite ends to each other.
Sure.
Other times, there's clearly been a fraud. There's clearly been an attempt for somebody to take their money, whatever. Okay. Yeah. So we will try our best to try to see if we can help resolve that situation. So we encourage people, if they run into that situation, file a complaint. The other thing is, I talked about sometimes having to take the next step to sue somebody, to litigate. A lot of the suits that we get, especially when it comes to consumer fraud, are because people filed the complaints. We may not know what's going on unless you come and tell us about it.
Sure.
Okay. So we need you to file those complaints because we'll track it. And maybe your complaint might be the one that takes us over the edge, that says, okay, because the attorneys make that decision. They look at the complaints. If it's a complaint against a particular business or a contract or something like that, and we've got multiple complaints, they may look at that and say, okay, wait a second, how many complaints do we have after this guy? And there's no magic number, okay? But it's a variety of factors that they take into account. But they'll look at the number of complaints. They'll look at the amount of money that has been involved, that may have been taken from, that the consumers have lost.
Yeah.
And then they may say, you know what? We've identified this person as preying on the citizens of Illinois. And therefore, we're going to take the next step and sue them. Okay. And we may be looking to try to see if we can recover funds to give back to the consumers. We may say, okay, you know what? You just don't know your threat. You're, and so therefore we're going to shut you down. You can no longer operate a business in Illinois. We're going to shut your business down. You can't operate a business. So we may take those steps. It won't happen off of every complaint, and it certainly won't happen off of every complaint.
Right.
Your complaint, you file it, and we'll do our best to try to see if we can help. And if we're able to do that, that's it. You came to us and said, hey, this is it. And if we were able to help you, that's it. We have a good success rate. It's not 100%, but we do have a good success rate. So I encourage people to file those complaints.
Absolutely. So let me say this. What is disturbing is that a lot of the elder abuse, unfortunately, is done by our own loved ones. So close to home.
Yes.
And I become frustrated, having watched the news and saw of the last victim or the last person of the Tuskegee Airmen and all of his, that's just overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Overwhelming. And so let me say this, Skip, because you're in a good position and you're talking to our listening audience. What are the considerations that we should have when we're choosing someone to take care of our well-being? You know what I mean? Just because he's your aunt, your uncle, or your nephew, or he's your cousin or your niece or granddaughter, that doesn't make them sometimes the right person.
Correct.
So knowing
Correct.
that you sit where you sit, what would be some of the things, because you've been all over the state, what do you want to address? What are the considerations
Well,
of housing
I think
well-being?
I think one of the things that people need to understand is be prepared.
Mm, mm,
You know, here's the first thing. When you're 50 years old, guess what?
what?
You know you're going to be 70. When you're 70, guess what? God willing, hopefully you're going to be 90. So you know you're going to be up there. And so I think what people need to do is to prepare ahead of time. Uh, a lot of times they wait until the last minute, and at that point, the senior, their mental faculties may be impaired, and so they're almost at uh, they're very vulnerable at that point. But before they get to that point, they can plan for the future. A lot of seniors, okay, um, they already have their burial plot.
Mhm.
They have their life insurance, so they know, okay, when my time comes, they can pay for the funeral, they can bury me. Well, take the next step in terms of some of those other areas as well. When it comes to your finances and all of that, you you know you know who in your family, okay, should be the right person to do that.
Right.
Sit down and talk to them first about it. First thing,
Yes.
sit down and talk to them about that.
Yes.
Okay, you got 3 kids, okay, uh, but only one is the one that's got enough sense when it comes to handling finances.
Great
The others
statement.
might
Great
not be
statement.
so great.
Great
Okay,
statement. Yes, sir. Great statement.
so you sit down, you talk to them, and you plan, and you can work with attorneys. It's estate planning, all that
Mhm.
stuff. You can set that, and it doesn't really cost a lot.
Yes.
Doesn't cost a lot. And
Exactly.
I think if you plan for all of this, it makes things easier. It makes
Absolutely.
things easier. Okay.
Absolutely. So let's
So
do this. The last slide I put up, it's called the Be Safe program. And this program is statewide that addresses financial exploitation against older citizens. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
I had one senior, unfortunately, who literally lost over $250,000 of her retirement savings.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And guess who did? It was her banker.
yeah,
I mean,
yes,
we said, well, it's
yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So, here's the deal. Um, everybody that you come in contact with, that you deal with, may not be right. It's just that simple. Okay. And uh, and then understand this: money, especially when you have a fair amount of money, is a huge attraction to people. And and for some people, they just can't avoid that attraction,
yeah.
and they will cross the line in terms of what their duties are, okay, to take your money.
Mhm.
They will. So, and it happens in the banks. And I'm 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 not a big fan of how the banks operate when something like that happens, because
Sure.
banks are more interested in protecting their reputation. So they don't want to tell you about the investigation. They put up a lot of barriers. They want to deny that this didn't happen or whatever, stuff like that. They'll never tell you, even if they investigate and they say and determine that, yeah, your money was taken. They'll
Mhm.
return the money. They'll never tell you what the result of the investigation was in terms of the person who took the money. They
Oh,
keep all of
okay.
that under wraps,
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
because that's not something that, well, their bank.
Right.
They don't want to be known as, hey, come bank with us because we're gonna take your money. So
Right.
they want to keep that under wraps.
Hmm.
But um, but yes, it happens. I mean, I don't care what organization you're in. Okay, there's going to be some bad apples. it's just a matter of the numbers. If you got 100 people, all 100 are not going to be right. I'm just sorry. It's just not going to happen.
Rules of the road.
You'll have at least 5 to 10 that are just, hey, for whatever reason, we need to let you go.
Yeah.
So it just don't work out.
It's gonna work out.
Yeah.
So we're wrapping up here, and thank you, Phyllis Rogers. We love you, Peer Plus Education. We love you, Phyllis. Thank you for tuning in. Let me say this: what can the community do to better support, or what are we underutilizing from the office of the Attorney General?
Okay, so let me say this, because since I've been here, the goal has always been to get our information out, because we're a state agency.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch TV, okay, your TV program is probably 10 minutes long, but it gets stretched out because you got 20 minutes of commercials.
Yeah.
We don't do commercials. We can't do commercials and all of that stuff. We can't put ads in the newspaper. We can't run commercials on TV and radio. So we are always trying to get our message out there. So avenues like this that you present to us, we love that, because this is one way that we can get our information out. So if those are out there and you're in a senior facility, please talk to your service coordinator and tell them get in touch with us, so that we can come out. I go to all the senior residences, and it's time for me to make another round, because things were shut down in COVID.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when COVID hit, I was the first one in my group to say, hey, guess what? Everything just dropped off my calendar, because everybody was shutting down stuff, because I was senior, and we all know the seniors were hit harder first than any group that was affected by COVID.
Exactly.
Okay. So, I had to go on my boss. I said, you know what? My calendar just got wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
All my events and stuff, I wasn't able to go to because they shut down. They weren't letting outside people come in. They weren't even letting the residents come down and use the community rooms. They had to stay in their apartments, all that other kind of stuff.
Oh my goodness. And let me say that
things are starting to open back up again.
Yes, sir.
Have our office come out. For those that are online, that are on the internet, I encourage you to go to our website. There's a ton of information on the website. We just redid it, so it's a new website.
It's nice.
Always
it's navigator friendly. Let me tell you this.
It's better. It's better. We have a search mechanism and all of that. So, go to the website, because like I said, we do a lot of stuff. It's a lot, when I come out, I bring a lot of materials. I ask people, I need a 6-foot table because I got my tablecloth, but I can fill up that table. With materials, because we do a lot in a number of different areas. So, we got a healthcare bureau, we got civil rights, we got senior bureau, charitable trust, disability,
veterans,
crime victims, veterans. Yes, a lot,
exactly.
a lot. So, and when I come out, I'll give them an overview about our office, so that they kind of have an idea about what we do, all that stuff. They could take the materials, and so then you may come down, but your neighbor might not have come down. So take some materials for them, okay? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, especially when you're in the senior residences, you may know when something's going on with your neighbor before their family members do, because you all sit down and have coffee every morning, and you can tell something's on her mind. Something's bothering her, okay?
Yeah.
And so they'll confide, and you go, okay, wait a second. You didn't make the presentation, but I just went down. This guy from the Illinois Attorney General's office was here. You need to call them. I think they might be able to help you. So spread that information around. If your neighbors don't come, you let them know, because so when I'm presenting and I got 10, 15, 20 people in the room, it's really 30 or 40, because each one of them
tell someone else
has So I don't worry about the numbers, because I know it'll spread, but I need to be in the buildings. Come, it was free, and we would be more than happy to get this information out. And I tell people all the time, call us. You call us. These are your tax dollars at work. Okay, there's no such thing as a silly question, because they're always trying to get you. Your phone rings all day long. We tell people, if you don't recognize the number, don't answer that phone. Let your voicemail, your answer machine screen your phone calls.
That's a whole nother show. Let me tell you. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's a whole nother show.
So tell them if something comes across their desk, they get something in the mail, or they got a phone call, they're not sure, they can call us, tell us what went on, and then we can tell you, yes, that's a scam. Or, no, it's not. This really is the case. And we can tell them how to handle it. So it's no such thing as a silly question, because I always tell people it is a lot easier for us to help you keep your money than it is for us to help you recover your money. And I want to make a distinction here between a scam and a consumer fraud issue. If you have a consumer fraud issue, we can attempt to help you on that, because you might have an issue with the retailer or some contract or something like that. But if you've been scammed, that money is gone.
Ooh.
We can't help you get it back. It's gone, because everything about that transaction was a lie. That wasn't his name. That's not where he was from. Even the phone number that you've been talking to him, he's going to shut that down after a while, because it's just a throwaway cell phone. You gave him $700, $1,000, $1,500. He got enough money to get another cell phone.
Yeah.
And then he'll continue on.
Well, let me say this. It has been fruitful. I definitely am going to follow up. We're going to be in the community. That's our new pattern called the Live and Learn series, where we do pop-up health fairs and resources, bring city and state services with some other things, and it's growing. So the announcements, and for those who are ready to get on board, do us a favor and go to the Senior Talk office. Call our office at 312-428-6919, or you can email me at seniortalk@gmail.com. It is serious business. We're hitting the ground. We got the West Side in July. We're going to be in the South suburbs. We're going everywhere to open up those buildings and say we're here for you. So you're 100% right on that, Skip. So everyone, thank you for making us a part of your day.
Thank you for turning in. I appreciate it, Claire. Thank you for the opportunity. Like I said, we value this, because we're always trying hard to get our information out there. So we really, really appreciate this. So thank you so much.
Well, nobody does it better than you, Skip. So you're a friend of Senior Talk, and I truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
So everyone, take care. We're going to share this broadcast on multiple outlets. And if you have any further questions, we'll be glad to contact you with the office. We'll be putting it on our newsletter going out later today. Everyone, take care. Thank you for making us a part of your day. And we will see you next time for Senior Talk with Claire Hubbard.
Thank you, folks.